Hey guys, it's Adam here. Very weird video. I'm currently in Cancun, Mexico, so I'm actually filming this on my big vacation for the year. I do travel stuff all the time on my travel channel. There will be a video about this, but normally that's for business. This is like the one trip a year I have like some fun. Usually I go to Guam or whatever. This time I'm at Cancun, Mexico with the missus. Anyway, and proof of that, we got water, and look, there's an iguana. Our iguana buddy over there will hang out with us while we talk. So what we're going to talk about right now is channel hacking updates. So I did a video not that long ago because my YouTube channel, this channel, got hacked, and it was a bad day on January 11th when that occurred. And there's been some updates since then. I do recommend going out and watching my original video on this subject and really all the circumstances that led to it, etc. But I wanted to give a couple of PS's because there has been some updates. So the day after I released the video, there was a second attempt to hack my channel. My phone, which is a Google Pixel, had logged me out once again. Presumably because the hackers still had access to a token or whatever that had gotten them into my account in the first place. So it failed. The reason it failed is twofold. One, I've been talking to people at Google because this happened to my channel and because it was restored. They've been a little bit more paranoid about strange logins. So when they detected one, which apparently came out of Germany, they immediately locked the account for a minute and kicked everybody off, including myself, because that was not expected. So I was able to log back in because I am the proper owner and because I had one of those Yubico keys. I cannot stress this enough. The thing that will ultimately save any account is those physical Yubico keys. It's a physical thing you can buy on like Amazon or whatever, and then you tie it to your account. So it's absolutely essential to actually have that in order to unlock it for two-factor authentication. Obviously, there are other methods of two-factor authentication, such as SMS texts, Google Authenticator, whatever else. My Pixel has a bonus one because it's literally a Google product. None of that mattered. I can't stress this enough. None of that stuff mattered when my channel was hacked. The only thing that would have theoretically stopped it would actually have been one of those Yubico keys. So I made sure to get one of those, and I recommend that to everybody. Now, why are we talking about this? Because that situation, that second one, was a no big deal. It was restored to me within like a minute or two. However, since this has happened to me, a lot of people have actually reached out. There's been a lot of YouTubers who have contacted me, people I've never heard of, to be completely frank, people that are much bigger than me. There's a guy named Pegasus, who's a guy in Singapore who has like 1.6 million subs. This happened to him, and I was talking to him through Discord. I gave him a call, and I was just telling him what to expect and all that sort of stuff. Circa, which is a guy who's been around, I forget my pronunciation, he's an artist, YouTuber. His channel got hacked, and he has not actually restored it, which is partially what I wanted to talk about here. So if you didn't see the first video where I explained all this, basically when your YouTube channel gets hacked, and it's usually, right now anyways, it's kind of an epidemic, and it can happen to you, it can happen to anybody. What I've learned is that there's a group that is effectively buying channels. So this was explained to me in a tweet. Now, I don't know if this actually happened to me specifically, but this apparently is why there's a rash of this lately. There are certain things that happen to you on the internet if you get a sponsorship email, or you click on the wrong website, or you get exploited through Google Drive. There's a bunch of different hacks. Ultimately, by the way, Google couldn't determine what actually happened to me, so I still don't actually know. But it is possible that you can click on a link that is a phishing link without realizing it, of course, but the action is not immediate. The hacker then has access to your login token and effectively does nothing with it. They just kind of sit it there. And somewhere on the dark web, they're like, here's the channels I have for sale. And eventually, someone comes in and buys your channel. Screwed up, right? And so presumably that's what happened to my channel, is that this might have happened for all we know like a year ago. I don't really know. And then all of a sudden that was the day, January 11th, where the hacker decided, okay, I bought the channel, now I'm going to do this. Now, what is their motivation once they buy your channel? They go in and they effectively just take down all your content, replace it with their own, a live stream crypto scam that just tries to get people to click on phishing links and just have this cycle perpetuate. Now, fortunately, in my case, this was resolved relatively quickly, and this is essential. This is why I'm bringing up the other YouTubers here. So, in the case of Pegasus, he has like a 1.6 or now probably more like 1.57 million channel. And so what I was told by a Google employee who will remain nameless, who is the hero who saved this channel, YouTube and Google specifically has a 3-tier system for how channels get restored in this situation if a channel is considered hijacked, which is what happened to me. If you are like some super important account, like literally 10 Downing Street for the British or the White House, like that's so important that you get immediate service on restoring that. So that's tier 1. Tier 2 is anybody with 1 million subs above. So Pegasus, for example, would qualify for that. Anybody under that is Tier 3, meaning it does not matter if you have 985,000 subs or 1 subscriber, you are Tier 3. Now that would put me there. Now Tier 3 essentially means they get to you when they get to you. Now this has an unfortunate situation because it does mean effectively that you're a low priority and they'll deal with it when they have time to. The only reason I was kicked up to Tier 2 is just because a Google employee was a fan of mine and took sympathy on me and kicked it up for me, which I can't stress enough how much I appreciate that, especially after what I learned. So in the case of Pegasus, I calmed him down off the ledge. I had talked to him. I was like, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be okay, blah, 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 blah. And he did get his channel back and everything was all right. But in the case of Circa, who I was talking to for a while, his channel is about 800,000 subs. To this day, he has not received his channel back. Now, his story is kind of depressing and fascinating at the same time. The exact same thing had happened to him. He was kicked out of his account, channel taken away, bots took it over, contacts Team YouTube on Twitter, they start to deal with it, etc. But because he was not kicked into Tier 2 ever, they just kind of, we'll deal with it when we can deal with it. And what eventually happens is, what we're learning now, is the company that takes these over claims to be a group called MicroStrategy US. Never heard of them, other than this, obviously. And they put their name on everything. Because you have a verification check mark that they're just kind of changing, it looks legitimate. So there, as it turns out, there actually is a company called MicroStrategy US. And the actual MicroStrategy US obviously wants nothing to do with these like scam crypto channels that have nothing to do with them. So what they started doing, apparently, is filing trademark claims on these channels. Now that's important because what happens in that situation is then the channel is then effectively spam terminated for legal reasons, because Google's saying, yeah, I guess that is legit. You can't own that name and your channel violated terms of service. This is effectively what happened to Circa. His channel was taken over, hackers changed his name, changed all his stuff, then the real MicroStrategy US filed a trademark claim against his name, so I understand the situation to be. And then Google said, now it's not legally compliant. The channel, not you as an individual, but the channel violated terms of service and thus cannot be restored. This happened within a day. Now what that effectively, depressingly, horrifyingly means is if your channel does get hacked, you effectively have a matter of hours to restore it. Because if you don't restore it in time, which, by the way, Circa did. Google actually sided with them and said, yeah, we give you the channel back, we give you the account back. That's more accurate, they give you the account back. But they can't restore his channel now that it has a legal claim on it from another group. Think about how horrifying that is. So that's why he has not actually received the channel despite getting the Google account back. That's terrible. So with regards to the whole selling your channel thing, I'll put a tweet in the description that explained this better. There was a guy who was talking about it, and I was like, this is fascinating. As for Circa's situation, again, I'll put a link to his Twitter, and you guys can try and show support over there. But I guess what I'm trying to tell you guys is, if you're a YouTuber, it doesn't matter how big, how small, whatever it is, this can happen to any of you for any reason at any time. It's horrifying. And the only thing that can really stop it, theoretically, is Yubico keys and constantly doing refreshes of all of your passwords as well as your authenticators. For example, when this original hack happened to me, not only did I have two-factor authentication in terms of SMS texts, I also had Google Pixel specific prompts because it's, again, a Google product, and I had Google Authenticator. The problem is literally none of them mattered. I received a notification from an SMS text just saying, hey, you know, here's the text to get into your thing. And I'm like, I didn't do this. Then all of a sudden I was kicked out of it. The Google notifications from the phone specifically, because it's tied so much and integrated to it, basically was just like, oh, you've been kicked out of your account. That sucks. And then Google Authenticator, because it's a Google product, ceased to be of any use because you can't access the Authenticator app. So the only two-factor authentication that actually matters is those physical keys. And I now have to depressingly travel with that all the time anywhere I go. I must bring that key, otherwise I risk the possibility if anything were to occur, I would not be able to get back into my accounts. So what I suggest to anyone out there is log out of every session you've got available right now, update all your passwords, and start up again. And then buy physical keys to lock the accounts. And maybe just get used to doing that in some sort of sequence every once in a while. That's really the only thing you can do. Because again, most of us are going to be in Tier 3, and if this ever happens to you, very unlikely you're actually going to get the account back in full, presuming that MicroStrategy US continues to do what they do. Because the real MicroStrategy, like, they're filing claims against channels that claim to be them, which I get why they do that. It's just that the logical consequence of doing that basically destroys channels. This is becoming more of an epidemic on YouTube, and I've come to the realization like how lucky I actually got, because if it weren't for this one Google employee who happened to bail me out, the channel would be gone. It would be over completely. All the content lost, channel spam terminated forever. And yet again, that is a reminder of the horrors of digital media. Like, I don't charge you to watch my content, and yet it's been up there for like 15 years. All of it could have just been gone in a split second. It was, effectively. And that can happen to any of you. Digital media is not property, even though I never sold you anything. It was always meant to be accessible to you. And even outside of the creator's control, it was taken away. And it can happen at any time. So I'm not trying to scare you all. I'm just saying, go out and get some Yubico security 2-factor authentication keys and just take my advice on all this. Hopefully you guys appreciate the update. By the way, if you're watching this and I haven't posted a new episode of Playload, it's just because of the timing in which I'm here. I wouldn't have time for it. So that episode will come out a little late. But yeah, anyway, it doesn't really matter. Thank you as always for watching. As always, the comments, I appreciate those. Like them, subscribe, all that. Like, comment, subscribe, you know the routine. And then in the description, there's social media stuff. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Patreon, Spreadshirt, Travel Channel, etc. Appreciate all that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.